Today, we're going to dive into something really cool, an ancient system of mathematics that can turn really complex calculations into simple mental tricks. Honestly, it feels less like doing homework and more like unlocking a superpower for your brain. So let's just jump right in with a challenge.
Okay, so right off the bat, here's a challenge for you. Take a good look at this problem. 98 times 97. I want you to try and solve it in your head. No pen, no paper, definitely no calculator. Ready? Go ahead, I'll give you a couple of seconds. All right, time's up. Did you get an answer?
So, the answer is 9,506. Now, if you struggled with that, hey, don't worry about it. You are definitely not alone. But what if I told you there's a way to get that answer like almost instantly? Well, there is. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to do it.
To really get where these amazing shortcuts come from, we have to rewind the clock. A lot. See, this system wasn't just invented for fun. It was actually forged out of necessity to solve some incredibly complex, real-world problems. I mean, just think about it. Ancient Indian scholars needed some seriously advanced math for pretty much everything. They were predicting eclipses and creating calendars, which required super precise astronomical calculations. They were building these massive, geometrically perfect temples. And, in a world full of bustling trade, they had to do calculations fast, right on the fly. This wasn't just about playing with numbers, this was about building a civilization.
The solution they came up with was this unbelievably elegant system of mental math. But here's the crazy part. Over time, the system was actually lost, only to be rediscovered much, much later.
For centuries, these incredibly powerful techniques, which are mainly passed down just by word of mouth, they just faded away. Then, in the early 20th century, a scholar named Sri Bharati Krishna Tirthaji dedicated years of his life to studying these ancient Sanskrit texts, the Vedas. And through that hard work, he rediscovered and completely reconstructed this lost system, which we now call Vedic Mathematics.
So what's the big secret? Well, it all comes down to something called a sutra. A sutra is a Sanskrit word for a word formula. I want you to think of it like a short, elegant instruction, almost like a little piece of code that tells you exactly how to solve a certain type of math problem in the absolute simplest way possible.
And this is the part that just blows my mind. This entire powerful system of Vedic mathematics is built on just 16 of these core sutras. That's it. Just 16 elegant rules to unlock a whole world of high-speed mental calculation. It's incredible.
All right, enough with the history lesson, right? It is time to see the magic in action. Let's circle back to that problem from the very beginning and see how one of these sutras can solve it in just a few seconds.
The sutra we're going to use is called Nikilam Navatakaram Dashat. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but it translates to all from 9 and the last from 10. This one little rule is an absolute game changer for multiplication problems where your numbers are close to a nice round base, like 100.
Okay, let's break this down. Ready? Our base here is 100. So, first question, how far are our numbers from 100? Well, 98 is 2 less and 97 is 3 less. Got it? Now for the first part of our answer, you just subtract crosswise. So you can either do 98 minus 3 or you can do 97 minus 2. Doesn't matter which one. Either way, you get 95. Bam! That's the first half. For the second part, you just multiply those two differences together. 2 times 3 is 6. Now, because our base, 100, has 2 zeros, we have to write that 6 as 06. Just put the two parts together, 9506. 9506. Simple as that.
What's so wild is how different this is from the way we all learned math in school. Traditional math makes you work digit by digit, from right to left, carrying the one, all that stuff. The Vedic method is holistic. It looks at the numbers as a whole. You usually work left to right, and it relies on these really intuitive patterns instead of just memorizing rigid steps. It feels more natural, doesn't it?
And hey, this is not just for multiplication. These same principles can be applied to all sorts of problems. They can even make tricky things like algebra feel, well, easy.
Check out this other beautiful sutra, Ekadhikena Purvena, which means by one more than the previous one. This is the perfect tool. It's like a secret weapon for instantly squaring any number that ends in 5.
Let's try to square the number 85. So you look at the digit right before the 5. In this case, it's 8. The sutra tells us to multiply that digit by one more than itself. So what's one more than 8? It's 9. You just multiply 8 by 9, which gives you 72. That's the first part of your answer.
For the second part, you just tack on a 25. And there it is, 7225. You can do this with any number ending in 5. Like 35 squared? Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, so 1225? It's ridiculously fast.
But wait, there's more. The tricks don't stop there. What about going the other way, finding square roots? Well, the Vedic method has a technique for this called Vilokanam, which basically means by observation. And yeah, it sounds impossible, but it lets you find the square root of perfect squares just by looking at them. Let's find the square root of 2025. First, just look at the last digit. It's a 5. The only single digit that gives you a 5 at the end when you square it is 5 itself. So we know, for sure, our answer ends in 5. Now, ignore the last 2 digits and just look at what's left, 20. So, what's the largest perfect square that's less than or equal to 20? Well, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, which is too big. So it has to be 4. That's the first digit of our answer. You combine them and you get 45. The square root of 2025 is 45. No complicated work, just observation.
So what we've really seen here is way more than just a couple of clever tricks. Vedic mathematics is a fundamentally different way of approaching numbers, logic, and problem-solving itself. Here's the most important takeaway. Vedic mathematics is so powerful because it's fast, it's simple, and it's intuitive. It's not about memorizing endless tables, it's about seeing the patterns in numbers. It encourages this kind of creative problem solving and connects all these different areas of math together with just a few core ideas, which makes the whole subject feel a lot more unified and way less scary. And this really brings us to the big idea. We just saw how a system from thousands of years ago can provide these incredibly elegant solutions to problems we still deal with today. It kind of makes you wonder, if a set of simple, ancient formulas can completely change how we look at something as basic as math, what other modern problems out there might have solutions hidden in the wisdom of the past? It's something to think about.